Good evening, fellow Toastmasters. Welcome to the yet another online version of Orators in the Cloud Toastmasters meeting. I am Bhargav, and I am going to be the Sergeant at Arms for today's session. The theme for today's session is Joy is often really simple to get. Well, I truly believe that joy is often really simple to get. Imagine sitting in your balcony, sipping a cup full of chai and a plate full of piping hot pakoras while it is raining like cats and dogs outside. It gives you immense happiness, and it is rather really simple to get. Or rather, imagine feeding a poor, helpless stray animal. It gives you immense joy, and it is rather simple to get. I believe that life is all about finding joy in the simplest of simple things. As we proceed further, I'd like to lay some ground rules for today's session. Please do not speak while others are speaking. Please switch on your camera while you're speaking and refrain from talking about taboo topics like sex, religion, and Donald Trump. With this, I'd like to pass on the baton to the presiding officer, Hind Geel.
Thank you, Bhargav. Thank you very much. That was an amazing introduction. You should not have mentioned rains and pakoda because the weather is already rainy. It's not raining yet, but it's kind of that. And now I crave pakodas.
That's my
not cool. Welcome everybody. Welcome to another online meeting of ours. Like I mentioned last time, we have lost count of which online meeting number is this, because this seems to be the new normal. Today is a special meeting because this is an installation. We'll have an installation ceremony for the new executive committee. The installation ceremony will be headed by our new area director, Ajay. And we have many guests within us, amongst us today. Let's introduce them one by one. First of all, the man who helped us begin this club, our previous area director, Mazahir. Hi, Mazahir.
Hello. Thank you so much, respective dignitaries over here. Area G2 Director Ajay Pallegar, Area G1 Director Kartika Lognathan, my dear friends, President of OITC, President of Trailblazers, distinguished Toastmaster Kavya Gowda, President of Standard Chartered Eco World Bangalore Toastmaster Club Kadambari, dear members of OITC, thank you so much and amazing to be part of this meeting. Thank you.
Well, that's what you get when you introduce Mazahir first. He introduces everybody. Moving on to our next guest, as Mazahir said, Area G1 Director, Toastmaster Kartika. Hi, Kartika.
Hey, hello everyone. It's been so long time. I did not meet you people. I'm feeling happy. Hello.
Hi. It's so nice to see you after so long, although it's over a screen.
Thank you.
And welcome our current director, Area G2 Director, Ajay. Hi, Ajay. If you can switch on the camera and just say hi to everybody.
Hello.
All right. Nice and sweet. Thank you. The next guest is Toastmaster Padmini. Hi, Padmini. Would you like to introduce yourself?
Hey, hi. I'm Padmini. I'm from Walk the Talk Toastmasters Club, and I am its current president. I just saw your invite in the Toastmasters in ORR group, and I joined even before it started. I was having a lot of free time. Excited to go to the meeting.
Thank you very much for joining, and thank you very much for joining before the meeting start time. That will be a lesson for all of us. Thank you. Next up, hello, Toastmaster Nitin, President of Trailblazers.
Hey guys, hello. As Hind said, I'm President of Trailblazers, and with all the meetings happening at the click of a button, I'm just jumping from one meeting to another. Thank you so much for having me over.
Well, we are very glad to have you. We are very glad to be in that hop list of yours. Next up, Kadambari. Hello, Toastmaster Kadambari. Would you like to introduce yourself?
Hey Hind. Hello
Hi.
everyone. I'm Kadambri, President of Standard Chartered GBS EcoWorld Toastmasters Club. However, our ex-area director has introduced. With that, all the best for the incoming officers for today and all the best for the event as well. Good luck, guys.
Thank you. And we have our old-time mentor, Toastmaster Soumya from ANZ. Hi, Soumya.
Hello, hi everybody. Really glad that I'm a part of installation ceremony today, and best wishes to the incoming committee.
Thank you. So many people have joined. It is getting difficult for me to introduce so many. Hello, Toastmaster Divya. Hi.
Hello.
That's the shortest exchange that I can have with people. A
Because
warm
I heard
welcome to
there
you.
are a lot of people you have to introduce.
No, I was done with the list. So you're the second last one before I introduce the keynote speaker of the day, and the highlight of the day, the USP of today's meeting, Toastmaster Kavya Gowda, DTM Kavya Gowda. Hi, Miss Kavya. Would you like to introduce yourself?
Hi, Hind Kishore. Nobody has called me the USP of a meeting before, but thank you very much for that lovely introduction. I'm Kavya Gowda. I've been in Toastmasters for longer than most of you have been born, I think. But I'm here to deliver a keynote address and most importantly, congratulate all of the new officers, the club officers who are getting installed. And thank you for the invite.
Most welcome. Now we have another guest, Toastmaster Pramod. Hi, Pramod.
Yeah, hello, Hind. I'm doing good. Thank you.
All right. Assuming that people joining this meeting are Toastmasters, we'll continue with that. Now I'm going to pass on the baton to the Master of Ceremony or Toastmaster of the Day. You can call her either. Toastmaster Akshaya.
Thank you, Toastmaster Hind. A couple of days ago, I think it was a Sunday, and I had all the time of the world in my hands, and I decided to sit down and paint my nails. So what I did was I wanted a color which would match my laptop because I just wanted to have that happiness of your nail paint matching the background of what you work on every day. So I did a lot of hard work and I picked out the right paint, which kind of went with the Mac with which I sit every day. So this was on Tuesday. We have a status meeting where everyone comes and everybody is and it is asked from everyone to give their status. And I was so lost in my little hand that I did not hear that my name was called twice. I'm so grateful that Abhijit is joining this meeting late. So for everybody in the meeting who wondered why Akshaya was not talking for a couple of minutes even after my name was called 2 to 3 times, it was because I was deriving all the happiness in the world from looking at my hands and seeing the beautiful contrast that it was forming with its background. I would say I was a Michelangelo installed in the body of a human with endless talk time. That was exactly what I was feeling at that point. A couple of days later, it was raining cats and dogs in Chennai. When I say cats and dogs in Chennai, you really have to have that wow on your face because rains and Chennai are two exes who don't try to meet very often in a year. So when it rains in Chennai, there are people stepping out because half the time you're wondering how come it is raining at this time of the year. And the second, I saw kids around my building floating these paper boats. And I was wondering whether do I remember this art of making paper boats, and I quickly pulled out a sheet of paper. I tried to fold it, and after some 20 minutes of struggle, I remembered how I could fold the paper into a paper boat and I could just float it on the waters. And then I remembered, oh my God, I could have been a Marie Curie or someone who could have flown a satellite for ISRO, but what am I doing here? And this is when I remembered that, okay, maybe happiness is really overrated. People are trying to tag happiness with so many labels, wherein it could actually be really, really simple. And that is when I decided, okay, maybe let's have a Toastmasters speak about what is their idea of happiness. So today's meeting is dedicated or is an ode to our ways of finding happiness around us. With that said, today my role is not going to be that of a Toastmaster. It is going to be, or a Toastmaster of the day. It is going to be a little lesser than what is expected out of a TMOD, but hopefully a little more than nothing. So I'm going to help you navigate the meeting from one logical half to the other and hopefully make it look like it is a beautiful chain going from one set to the next. So joining me in moving the chain forward is our first evaluator of the day. So we do not have a ship which is going to sail with the captain, but the ship is ready to sail. So it's time to wave the ship off because we don't have a GD today. We just have the tag team. So let us welcome the first evaluator of the day, the timer, who derives a lot of joy when he finds an extra chip in his lace packet. Ladies and gentlemen, put your hands together for Toastmaster Rahul, the timer of the day.
Rahul, you're on mute.
Thank you, Toastmaster Akshaya. That is very much true. I derive pleasure from that extra last chip in the lace packet. However, do you guys know, according to economics, the law of diminishing returns, the second piece of chocolate doesn't taste as good as the first piece of chocolate. But for me, always the last part of the food item always tastes better. Anyways, talking about the small joys in life, we all have enjoyed or we know how joyful it is to complete something on time, to complete your homework on time, to have completed exam on time. Let's try to savor that joy today as well. In my role of timer, I will be timing various features and evaluation. The first cue you will see when you have completed minimum time required is a green card, like this. And you will see a yellow card when you are halfway between your minimum and the maximum time, and a red card when you have completed your maximum time. That's all from my side. I'll come back to give my report at the end of the meeting. Over to the Toastmaster of the day, Akshaya.
Thank you, Toastmaster Rahul. It's time to call upon the next person on the evaluators panel, the AhCounter of today. Toastmaster Supriya derives immense others. So let us welcome Toastmaster Supriya to introduce us to what she will be looking at for today. Please welcome Toastmaster Supriya.
Thank you, Akshaya. Good afternoon, fellow Toastmasters and guests. As an AhCounter, it is my duty to count and report the number of PRPF used by the speakers. Repetitions of words and usage of crutch words and filler words like so, you know, etc. spoil our speech. And one other important thing that will make our speech effective is the right usage of pauses. Most of the good speakers pause whenever they're going to announce something big. When you pause, you get the attention of the audience, and that's when you have to put forward your point. So in today's session, I'll try to focus on how well you're using your pauses. I would like to share a tip on how to reduce the usage of ahs and ums. What do you do when you come across a comma in your speech? You take a short pause, right? And what do you do when you come across a full stop? You take a long pause. So whenever you are taking this pause, try to keep your mouth, close your mouth. So whenever your mouth is open, that's when you try to fill the pause with scratch words and filler words. So try to keep your mouth closed whenever you have to take a pause. This will help in reducing the usage of ahs and ums. I'll share my report at the end of the meeting. Over to the TMOD Toastmaster. Thank you.
Thank you, Toastmaster Supriya. Closing the mouth can ring a bell in many ways. I hope you didn't mean it. Okay, so let's move forward. And the next person on the evaluation panel is Toastmaster Shreya. We call her the English teacher of the house, and today she is back to square one. So, ladies and gentlemen, please put your hands together to welcome Toastmaster Shreya. She derives a lot of joy when she sees a little leaf in the plant that she grows in her room. Let us hear it out. ladies and gentlemen, Toastmaster Shreya as the grammarian for today.
Thank you, Toastmaster Akshaya, for introducing me twice. Welcoming me twice. That was a really special welcome. I am generally a sanguine person. Can anybody guess why I've said this statement? Okay, let me give another hint. Can anybody guess the word of the day from the statement that I just said and what it means?
Sanguine.
Yes. So the meaning of the word sanguine is optimistic or positive, especially in apparently bad or difficult situations. I thought this described the story of my life, so I thought let me just start from there. Another sentence that it can be used in is, they are less sanguine about the prospects for peace. I'll be giving this word also in the chat, so you can take a look at it. Please do try to use this word as much as possible in your speech today and try to incorporate it right now in what you're going to say ahead. Apart from that, I'll be doing the usual, looking at subject-verb disagreements, propositions, good usage, bad usage, etc. That's all I have for today. Thank you. Back to you, Toastmaster Akshaya.
Thank you, Toastmaster Shreya. And now it's time to get to the meat of the meeting. So now it's time to call on the keynote. The keynote speaker of the day is distinguished Toastmaster Kavya Gowda. So she's here to build a bigger table for all of us and walk us through the journey of Toastmasters. So ladies and gentlemen, with no more delay and no more ado, let me welcome the only speaker of the day, the keynote speaker, Toastmaster Kavya Gowda. Building a bigger table, Toastmaster Kavya.
Thank you, Akshaya. That was very warm indeed, and I'm really liking your enthusiasm. And can you show your nails to the camera, if I can see your nails? Your nails, are they still painted? Nice. Thank you very much. So thank you very much for the invite. I understand from Ajay that this is a new club and that all of you are excited newbies, and you're all going to be, most of you are going to be installed as your club officer. So congratulations on that. It's no small feat to 1, run a club, to 2, sustain a club, and 3, to take on the responsibility of ensuring that it progresses and processes. So thank you very much for the invite. And I know I'm supposed to be talking about myself. So Rahul, please keep me honest when you're talking about yourself. Time flies apparently. So I will look at your time cards. I'll look to you for your time cards. So before we begin, how many of you know me? Can I have a show of hands? Okay, I really like an audience that doesn't know me. Okay, Ajay knows me. Of course you do, Ajay. Thank you very much. Thank you, Mazahir. I am Kavya Gowda. I'm not a DTM per se. I don't come with that. I was named Kavya Gowda, so that's all we'll keep it at. I'll come to the DTM bit in a while. Kavya Gowda was not Kavya Gowda when she started off before. I started Toastmasters when I was 18. Before I turned 18, I was a precocious kid. I grew up with my nose in books. I absolutely didn't want anything to do with public speaking. I wanted to be left alone in a room with a cup of coffee and a nice book to read. And that's how I pretty much finished my entire teenage. And when I came to 18, I very accidentally discovered public speaking. While I was an introvert, I somehow loved the stage. I loved the energy that the stage had. I was making some amount of money by ensuring that I do, college fests, emceeing, and some radio shows here and there. And I was good at it and I was earning money, and I didn't necessarily need Toastmasters as such. But I accidentally got introduced to Toastmasters. I attended my first Toastmasters meeting. And at 18, if I know it's not too back in the past for most of you, but at 18, if I had an abundance of something, it was equal portions of arrogance and ignorance. I thought I was very good, and I also didn't know what I was very bad at. So it's a very nice combination, but it also can be very dangerous. So I attended my first Toastmasters meeting, and I remember very prominent Toastmasters was speaking at that, and they were giving their project 5 and 6, and I heard their speeches, and I was like, oh my God, I'm so much better than these guys. I don't need to spend $48 for, $32 at that time for this. But somehow I kept coming back, and thankfully I found a mentor who would break down every single ounce of arrogance that I ever had. He said, if you're so good, and very politely, he said, you're so good, Kavya. So what you do is, I don't know if you all know the Competent Communicator Manual, which you finish your 10 speeches and you get branded as a competent communicator. Wow, okay, I have an oldie with me. Okay. So you finish 10 speeches and it essentially covers all the basics and you do it. And he said, since you're already so good, why don't you do 2 speeches for each project? So I decided to do 2 speeches for each project. And I went on to do that certificate, which is ideally maybe a combination of pathways, level 1 and level 2, or level 3, maybe 10 speeches. I did that 4 times. So in essence, I finished 40 speeches in a span of 1 year. 40 speeches in the ideal world would have gotten me a DTM in 1 year, but that didn't happen. And by the time I got to, the 8th or 9th speech, I realized that I'm not as good as I think I am. They might be very nice. They might clap after every one of your speeches. They might give you a rousing applause, but you realize that there's something else awakening inside of you, because as much as Toastmasters is a progressive journey of public speaking and acquiring these skills about leadership, it's also a big journey that you take inwards, because when you start public speaking and when you start public speaking for yourself, which not many other public speaking options will give you, which is hosting shows or emceeing or doing your corporate presentations, won't take you inwards as much as you putting yourself out there and being vulnerable and being authentic and talking about things that matter to you, that are important to you, that are about you. And that breaks you down in ways that no one expects, because everyone breaks down very differently. And that was my first lesson in Toastmasters. You can never pour into a cup that is already full. It can be full of things that you already believe are true, that you already believe or it can be full of inhibitions and apprehensions that will you be able to do this or will you not be able to do this. You can never pour into a cup. Imagine you have a full cup of green tea and someone's waiting with hot chocolate, and you have a full cup and they can't pour into yours. You will be foregoing hot chocolate for green tea. Nobody wants to make that mistake. So when you walk into a Toastmasters meeting, go with an open mind. You can learn from every speech, whether that speech lives up to your expectation or not, whether a general evaluation lives up to your expectation or not. You can learn so much by just attending meetings regularly and going into those meetings. The second thing that I learned at Toastmasters is another story in itself. So after about 6 to 8 years of just speaking, I did nothing. I didn't take club leadership. I didn't take anything. I loved contesting. I kept contesting. I kept speaking at every forum that I got. I was a member of more than one club. I loved doing it. And then I graduated. I did engineering. I did my MBA. I continued my Toastmasters journey throughout. And I joined IBM after a stint in advertising. And when I joined IBM, I joined my club, which is IBM Blue Expression Toastmasters Club. And eventually that club fell into my hands as I became the president of that club. Everything changed. Then it's not about me delivering this amazing speech and everybody applauding me for my progress or my prowess of speaking. No, it then becomes about your responsibility for so many others who are with you. And you don't get paid for this responsibility. Until then, I was very focused on my career. I still am very focused on my career, but I was very focused in a way that I didn't want anything to deter the determination that I had to get ahead in my career. So I decided that if I'm going to take leadership, then I'm going to be very intentional about it. That was my second lesson that I learned at Toastmasters, which is deliberate intent. After years, this is probably my 16th or 17th year in Toastmasters, but after years of being in Toastmasters, it's one of the biggest lessons that has stood me in good stead. A lot of times when we join Toastmasters, we make great friends. It's one platform where you can say anything. You can bomb big time on stage and people will still find something positive to tell you after the meeting. They'll still come up and tell you, at least you tried, at least you got up on stage, at least you didn't faint and puke, They'll always find the silver lining in anything that you do. No other place. Imagine you bomb in a corporate presentation. You're pitching to someone, you bomb. Imagine you're talking to your clients, the multi-billion-dollar business, resting on your presentation, you bomb that. Do you think anybody's going to be like, oh, of course, you tried, no worries? No, you're going to get kicked out. That doesn't happen in Toastmasters. And it spoils you in ways, you walk into a room, you're treated as one special entity, and you will forever carry that with you everywhere you go. And I wanted to ensure that I made that count. I made that feeling count. So I did everything that I did at Toastmasters with deliberate intent and purposefulness. I didn't for once let the tide take me and take its course and let's see what will happen. I'm not that kind of a person. I will take organized sheets and organize them some more. That's the kind of person I am. And this just spoke to my personality that way. I use deliberate intent for everything. If I'm going to focus on leadership at Toastmasters, then what am I going to do with my professional career? And that year onwards, I started setting two goals for myself, one professional, one personal. There might be a lot of sub goals to it, but I set really big, hairy, audacious goals for myself, personally and professionally. And I then started deciding how will Toastmasters add to that goal? Because it's very easy to forget that you're not being paid for Toastmasters. You are paying for Toastmasters. You are paying, you're coming to these meetings to get something out of these meetings. If you are training to be an amazing Toastmaster inside these four walls, that's all you're going to be. But what you're coming to Toastmasters for is not to become a better Toastmaster. It's for you to take these learnings and be a better person, a better spouse, a better parent, a better, friend, a better employee outside of those four walls. It's a very important lesson that everybody should remember, especially as you spend more time at Toastmasters. Toastmasters is so rich. And I feel like I've grown up with Toastmasters. Most of my life lessons have come from Toastmasters. And I can tell you that it is still down my priority list. It's not at the top. I owe everything that I am today, the kind of person that I am today, to Toastmasters. But will I put that above everything else? Absolutely not. But will I use it to the fullest extent to ensure that I succeed outside of Toastmasters? 100% yes. If you want to become the club leader, you want to be the area director, you want to be the division director, you want to be the district director, do it. It's absolutely important that you do it. Leadership at Toastmasters teaches you things that you can never learn in the outside real world. Take that, but take those learnings and apply it, because you can do so much more than what you can if you just use Toastmasters to be a better Toastmaster. When I was the district PR, and I was the first district PR of District 92, I don't know if you know district, we came from District 82. It was already a very big, successful district. We were #1 in the world. And for that to break off from 82 and form your own division your own district was a very daunting task for everyone. And to be appointed with the district PR at that time was nothing short of, a really big task ahead of me. And I decided, me being my own self, that I'm not going to take this lightly. If I am going to do this, I'm going to do this really well. We ended up becoming #1 in the world that year. But what I was most proud of is I didn't take it on alone. I knew that if I kept my focus on being the district PR of District 92, it's going to deter a lot of goals that I had. So I set my biggest goal, professional goal, for that year. And it was felt like it was taking on too much, but I knew if I didn't do that, then I would focus more on that particular goal, which was District 92 PR. So I decided that I will apply for the IBM CSC program. I don't know how many of you all know, I'm sure Ajay knows it. The CSC program is essentially, there'll be a lot of applicants across the world. They'll handpick very, very few people and they'll send them off on a task. They'll put you in a country where you work with the country's NGO or its government to work on real life problems, real-time, real life problems. So I was sent to Africa to work with the Morocco government to solve their unemployment crisis. And this was bang in the middle of my District 92 PR year. And when I went there, I thought, everybody told me it's going to be life-changing. This is amazing. You get to go on this, really amazing project. And you get to work on it for 9 months. It's really big. It's really this. It's really that. And I was very cynical about it until I went and landed in Africa. And I'm telling you, and I kid you not, it was the easiest thing that I've done. And I thought it was going to be the most challenging thing. It was the easiest thing because I put everything I'd learned at Toastmasters to use there. Whether it was talking to people who were very different than me, because we were 10 of us, each and every one of us from a different country in the world, working on one single problem. There are so many underlying issues that you have to sort out. Sitting at a table with government heads who are not necessarily going to be very nice to you. Putting across your big ideas that nobody understands, and to ensure that you're pushing it forward without being, cocky about it. These are all the different things that I learned. But how did I manage my district PR role while I was doing that? I charted it out. I did it very well, but I had I had a 9-member team to whom I told that I picked everybody who was either out of college, just out of college, or in the last year of their college. And I gave each of them a single task, nothing else. You focus on the newsletter, you focus on media, you focus on this, you focus on this. I gave each of them their task and I let them do it. I didn't bother them about it. I didn't micromanage, none of it. So I exercised all of the leadership lessons that I'd learned at Toastmasters at Toastmasters. And I used all of those results outside of Toastmasters. Deliberate intent works. Take all of the lessons that you're learning at Toastmasters. If sanguine is the word of the day, try and use it outside of this room. And that's when it'll help. That's when you'll know that you can check off that box that Toastmasters helped me today. And it's a wonderful place to learn new things. And it's the perfect place to fail. And that's the one thing that I absolutely love about Toastmasters. Imagine walking up on stage and bombing and someone telling you did a good job. It, one, builds confidence, and two, it assures you that irrespective of how badly you do, you always have a community to go back. I really love this thing that I just heard from one of my members at my club, which is we grossly underestimate the power of community. And I've always been the kind of person who completely believed in herself. Everything else was a variable, which I will not take into consideration. But after Toastmasters, I've truly begun to realize the power that a community can have. And if you couple that with deliberate intent from your side, miracles can happen. I'm proof of it. Take me at my word. Everything was fine. Sanguine as sanguine can be. And I was doing very well. I had my professional career sorted. I had Toastmasters sorted. I had my personal life sorted. Everything was going good. And then I became a mother. It's very difficult to be in a sanguine state of mind or a sanguine person when you become a mother. And it employed a different set of skills that I never thought I would have to use when I became a mother. It's very hard to maintain your, all of these inspirational speeches. Imagine saying that to a mother. Like, you have all the time in the world, don't worry about it. You have to think about the big things in life. And, all of these inspirational speeches that we usually listen at these international district contests, try telling that to a new mom. She will slap you. And I'm not kidding about it, because no inspirational speech will work at that time. No amount of Toastmastering will help you at that time. But for some reason, what helped me was leadership lessons that I had learned. When I became the district PR, and I'll tell you something, thank you, Rahul. And I'll tell you something vulnerable. So when I became the district PR, I had 2 speeches to do in one day, one at a club and the other at another division event that I had to go to. And I prepared for the division event. I hadn't prepared for the club event speech, because I thought I can just, speak something. And I did speak something, and it was okay. But when I was in my car and I was driving to the other event, I realized that, why did I do that? Why did I not prep or take the club speech as seriously as I did the division speech? Because I'll get a bigger applause at the division and not at the club, because it didn't matter that much. And when I went back home that day, I realized that that's not the kind of person I am. Cut it out. I don't want to be that kind of a person. I'm authentic. What you see is what you get. If you see me today in front of, in a Zoom virtual meeting, I guarantee you 80% of this, except if I'm having a temper tantrum, this is all you get, even if you meet me in person. That's all I am. But what happens? You start believing that the title is real. District PR, you walk into a room, people applaud, people call you out, they want to talk to you, they want to take pictures with you. It can get to your head really quickly. But the thing is, you're not going to be recognized as a district PR on the road or, in your office. Nobody cares. They won't even take that seriously. So what I learned that day, and what I intentionally started following from that day, is to behave like a leader without a title, which is everyday leadership. If you behave like you are a leader, irrespective of whether you have the title or not, you're gaining leadership skills. You're behaving like a leader. You're ensuring that others are, following you or emulating you without having the head weight or without craving for applause. That's all you need. And that's what I applied when my daughter was born. If I didn't take charge and organize my life and reprioritize everything that I believed was my priority, I wouldn't have been successful. And I read a quote which said, you know, after your work and after your passions and everything, you don't give what's left to your family. You give your best to your family. You give your best 100% everywhere, and that's how you become a successful person. You don't give the rest, you give the best. And that is where everyday leadership plays a role. And when you put everyday leadership, deliberate intent, and constantly unlearning things that you believed were true, what happens is a beautiful amalgamation of all of that, and to ensure that you have a bigger table. When you have a bigger table and you're not a titled leader, you open up the table, people come to your table thinking you're friends, thinking that you're approachable, thinking that dissent is okay, thinking that disagreeing with you is okay, but still all the while respecting you for your opinion. Everyday leadership has helped me tremendously in bridging gaps in relationships, at work, at Toastmasters, in the passions that I follow, in the NGOs that I run, every single place. I have behaved like a true leader because I believe that I am the leader for my life, for everything that I take on. And that is the only thing that has stood me in good stead. I'm telling you, it's been 6 years since I've been following that. I can walk into any room and I will guarantee you that I will get a seat at the table, any table. And that is a lot to say if you are constantly walking into a room thinking that you don't have a title, so you don't have a voice, especially for women. It's more important every day to behave like everyday leaders, to take charge of what you believe in, and to ensure that you build a bigger table. Of course, the bigger table serves you really well because you get a lot of ideas, you get a lot of people that you like to work with you, but it also serves others. It also gives voice to others that who need it. Because if there's one thing that I've realized is as you grow in Toastmasters, your voice is not a skill anymore. It becomes a responsibility, especially in the times that we live in. You raise your voice for what is right. And that will happen when you build a bigger table. You allow more voices who are different than you to sit at it. Thank you very much. If you have any questions, I'll take them now. Thank you. Anybody has any questions that I can answer for you? Really not? Very
I
open.
have a question, Kavya. You just now said like voice is not a skill, it's a responsibility. But the moment you talk to people, they think that we are very rude. So what are your tips to, be good at them and how to bring out that we are rude?
Who are these
What
people
is your tip?
who are these people who are telling you that you're rude?
These are my office people.
Are you being rude?
Because I'm a very straightforward person. So people think that I'm very rude in that. But I want some tips from you. How can I change myself?
Okay, you don't have to change yourself. One, two. I was pretty much, and I think Ajay will attest to the fact that I shoot off from my mouth more often than I should. But I think over time I've learned tact. I've learned that different people have different approaches. Sometimes it's easier to do things if you're just polite and nice about it. I'm the two things that I'm absolutely not polite and nice about is if there is any kind of disrespect that comes my way or anyone else's way who's around me. There is no politeness involved in that. And two, if it has anything to do with children, I don't think I can take that very well. But other than that, I think everything can be a discussion, and sometimes it really helps. And the way to beat down people who are not necessarily in the favor of talking with you is with facts. So the more you learn, the more you educate yourself, the more points you have, you can probably have a better discussion than just, you can scream from rooftops about things, but when you speak about facts and you speak about real ideas, real experiences, nobody can negate that. And maybe that is one way, but this is a lifetime of learning. And I can't give you a ready answer right now because I'm also still learning. A lot of people trigger me, and I've identified the people that I'm okay to be triggered by and shoot off my mouth, and people that I'm not okay to be triggered by.
Thank you, Kavya. Thank you so much.
Okay.
Yeah,
Kavya,
hi
I have a
Kavya.
question.
Pramod, you have a question, and I heard someone else.
Yes, Kavya Pramod here. So, Kavya, I got few of the examples from your life wherein, as a leader, you are applying the learnings from Toastmasters in your personal life. But as a communicator, I would like to know how can you solve the day-in problem, the daily errands, or the maybe as a probably as a parent, how are you dealing or as a wife, how are you dealing with the regular problems which you face in the daily course of life
Yeah.
as a communicator? What's that you have learned in?
Right. So thank you for that question. And I completely understand. So when I did my first 10 speeches, we learned to get to the point. We learned to organize our speech. We learned to use vocal variety, body language, persuasion skills. We learn all of those things, right? So that's what I meant by applying what you learn at Toastmasters outside. And it comes greatly in handy when you're speaking to your child or your spouse. Of course, you have a level of comfort with them, so you don't necessarily have to, sugarcoat a lot of things. But when I feel like I'm losing my calm, I always tell myself, would I do this to my mentee? Would I speak this way to my mentee? Because I pride myself on being someone who truly cares about my mentees, truly cares that they do well in life. So if I'm having a discussion with my spouse or my child, I always tell myself, is this how I would be okay to be spoken to? Is this problem bigger than the two of us? It's not. So we will sit down and we'll discuss. They push my buttons very often, so not every time this works, but most of the time I'm willing to have a decent conversation about it. And most of the time I think it's I know my triggers, and my husband knows my triggers, and I've told him that if I get to this line of communication, please stop it at that. Please tell me that you need to calm down, and we'll come back and have a discussion. And it's always worked. Always worked. Initially, when we started doing this, he would be like, is this how you would talk to your Toastmasters? And then it would lead to a bigger fight. But now he also knows better, and I think that has helped. And honestly, it's not just about imagining them as mentees or imagining them as anything. Just give them the benefit of the doubt that you would give anyone, right? And everything can be sorted out with a discussion and with open communication. And sometimes that open communication can get really uncomfortable. And I think my husband and I have known each other our whole lives, and I'm not even kidding, literally our whole lives, except maybe the 1 month that we were born. Apart from that, we've known each other our whole lives, which means we've grown up together. And because we've grown up together, I think our fights are more volatile, like kids. But over time, we've learned to manage that really well because we understand each other's triggers. But it really helps if you extend the same courtesy that you would extend to your Toastmaster group or community to your home as well. It has helped me tremendously. My dad is a bullhead, for example. I can never ever get to get through a discussion with him without it really like stop it with your emotional blackmail kinds. But I've learned to deal with him in a different way now. Now I listen to everything that he has to say. I don't interrupt with my smart ass comments or anything. I just listen to everything that he has to say, and I take him down point by point by point. And then he has nothing else left to say after that. But that has worked. Yeah. Someone else had a question.
Yeah, can I go?
Yes, Nitin, please.
Yeah, hi Kavya. Firstly, thank you so much for the keynote and for giving us your insights. I heard that when you were going up the ladder in terms of Toastmaster leadership, you took an equally important role at work. So what I wanted to ask is, how do you juggle that? How do you, while working, how do you get yourself to not get distracted by your Toastmasters work?
Yeah, I think I struggled with that initially, like I mentioned, but after that, I made a very conscious decision that my work pays me. My work pays me. I pay Toastmasters. So if I have to deprioritize something, and I don't mean to tell you to deprioritize, I always get in trouble with the district officers when I say things like this. But I don't mean deprioritize Toastmasters. I mean truly prioritize in such a way that you take the learnings from Toastmasters, but you apply it at work. And there is, if you are really getting distracted by Toastmasters, maybe you'll have to reevaluate the kind of roles that you're taking and the kind of effort or the time that it's taking. If it's taking too much, it's always good to take help. My district PR role I would have never done what I did professionally or a district that year if I hadn't had my 9-member team. And at Toastmasters, it's the easiest thing you can do. And when you help someone at Toastmasters or get help from someone at Toastmasters, you're also allowing an opportunity for them to learn from you. allowing them the opportunity to shadow you or do some, bit of help with you. But that really is a juggling and prioritization act. And anything else is, my hierarchy is family, professional, personal passions, and then Toastmasters forms the basis of everything, but I'll never let it overtake anything else, because my priorities are very, very clear. Yeah. Thank you.
Hi, Kavya. First of all, thanks a lot for coming in to ITC to our club and giving us such a wonderful opportunity to listen. Everything you said was priceless. All of us are going to take something away and apply in our club and in general in our lives. So my question is really about influencing in leadership. As in professional circles in Toastmasters, something that comes inevitably with leadership is opportunity as well as responsibility to influence people, whether it is to job as members or kind of work with you as a team when you are in leadership position. The biggest thing that I've seen in Toastmasters in 3.5 years of my time here and in different leadership positions within the club is it's relatively easier to bring people on board than it is to keep them. The attrition is just too high for some reason. Whatever tactics you try, something or the other kind of makes people feel routine or whatever, and they eventually fizzle out. Is there any strategy there that you feel has worked really well for you?
Yes. So I'm going to speak only from the Toastmasters perspective, because I think that was your specific question. When we at Blue Expression Toastmasters, we pride ourselves on the fact that while we will assess our DCP needs, while we will assess our, what goals we need to reach in Toastmasters to be a certain level. They have a bunch of things, they run competitions, they have a lot of things. If you get sucked into that, it's very easy to lose your focus on the thing that makes your club, which is its members. And I tell this at every district event that they invite me to as well, that at any time as a club officer, if you feel that your focus is shifting from the member, then you bring it back. No DCP point is greater than a member. And every member is different, is an individual. And of course, you don't have the time and the effort, you don't have the time to put in that much effort to build a different career path for everyone. The one thing that has really helped in our club is the mentor-mentee relationship, because everybody is unique and different. For some of us, it might be easier to get up on stage and speak. For some people, it might be their life's work, and it might be deathly fear to come up and speak or to continue. If they don't see value in your club, in what they are going to do, they're not going to stay. That is one. Two, that value has to be personal. You can be the best club. You can have 10 on 10 DCP points, and I don't know if golden gavel still exists or I'm living in another era, but you can have the golden gavel. You can do all of those things. But if that member is not getting what he or she wants from, or what they want from your club, they're not going to stay. And each member needs to get that hook. They need to be okay. What we did initially when we started off is we sat with them and we decided that the mentor-mentees I'm talking about, we decided that you tell us your goals outside of Toastmasters. Forget about your Toastmaster goals. For a minute, your speeches will happen, your roles will happen, your leadership roles will happen. All of that will happen. Tell us what you want to achieve outside. And most of them won't even know what they want to achieve. And why will they tell you, a Toastmaster person, what they want to achieve personally, right? Professionally. So we have sat through team meetings, we've sat through all hands call, we've prepped with them for interviews, we've prepped with them for internal interviews, sometimes external, that's off the book. But we've sat with them and truly taken an interest in their lives, because that's what makes a member. And every member is not a membership ID. That person is live in flesh and blood. And if you are truly doing the service that Toastmasters dictates that you do, the 4 principles of Toastmasters is that, right? It's respect, integrity, excellence, and service. If you're truly serious about service, you will do that to your members and yourself first. So if a member feels that I'm not able to talk, my manager forced me to come here because I was not doing well, we don't say, oh, come. We are the best club, you're in the right place here. The next 2-3 weeks is spent in understanding that person, their manager, the kind of environment they live in. We go on a lot of coffee dates with like the mentor-mentees. They go on a lot of coffee dates, a lot of lunches are had, a lot of out of club meetings I had. And I know it takes a lot of effort, it takes a lot of time, and nobody has that kind of time. And I completely understand that. But if you're serious about member retention, if you're serious about adding value to that person and yourself, this is the extra mile that you have to go. Sometimes you won't need to go that far ahead, that far with them. It'll just maybe be assurance that, you're here and you hear them, you see them, and you want them to improve. That much might be enough for them to stick on and truly believe in this movement. And what I consider success at Toastmasters is, if someone joins the club, sees value, they will not leave Toastmasters if they leave your company or if they leave your club. They will still continue it outside and they'll continue that learning. Ajay Pallegar, your area director, is a great example of that. He joined Toastmasters, but he still joins our team meetings most weeks. He's more regular than any regular member, and he still is climbing up the ladder in Toastmasters as well as professionally, right? Because he saw value in what he wanted to do at Toastmasters. And I think that's the kind of value that you have to do. It'll take a little bit more effort than normal, but it'll be so worth it. So worth it. I've built networks and connections that are so strong that I wouldn't worry for a minute about what if I lose my job, because I know I have a safety net. I know I have a good network of people, with me. That helps.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Any other questions?
I have a question actually. This is Shreya. Can you hear me?
Yes. Yes, Shreya. Tell me. Are you segueing today? I might have butchered your word of the day quite a bit. Tell me.
No, I'm very glad. I hope some more people use it too. So my point was that on some days you feel quite confident, right? When you're heading somewhere, you're speaking to people, you're out there. Some other days are not that good. You don't feel that good. You're not confident of what exactly you're saying, even though you think you should be. Right? On such days, how do you fight that? How do you put a different image out there than what you're feeling inside?
When you are in the business of public speaking, I think that's a very valid question when it comes to you, right? Like, if you're not feeling up for it mentally, what do you do? Like, do you still go there and perform? The one answer to that would be, we're all human, and we're all, especially right now, we're in the middle of a pandemic. Everybody's going through anxiety. Everybody has their own priorities, and this might not be very high on their list. It might be a place where they come and blow off steam. But in an ideal world, in an ideal situation, a lot of times I've faced that. One, I have to, and I'm so used to pushing everything aside and getting it done, because you have to get it done. You're Kavya Gowda, come on, you can't lose focus. I've done that to myself for years, until my daughter was born. After my daughter was born, I realized how important it is to, one, take care of yourself first, and to be truly authentic to yourself. If you're not feeling up for it, and if you're not disrupting too many plans, it's okay to back out. Just remember that you can't rely on motivation to speak. You can be motivated listening to any great speaker. You can be motivated by your own speeches. You can be motivated, but it takes discipline to continue that practice. And this is an art, right? And artists channel everything that they're feeling into their art. And I believe it's the same here. When I walk up on stage, I feel like it's my happy place, and everything else that I've been thinking of until then will not matter for those 5 to 10 minutes. It won't. I won't let it. But on days where I feel like I absolutely can't do it, I tell myself I'm human and I cut myself a break. If it happens one too many times, I know that there's been some gap. Maybe I haven't taken the stage too often. Maybe I'm not confident about my material, but I try and specifically go to the root of the problem. What exactly am I feeling? Am I feeling that because I'm low on confidence? Is something bothering me? I try to address that first and then go up on stage. Last year, I had to do this huge event at work where I was supposed to be hosting the event, and there was supposed to be a lot of leaders attending that. And I just didn't feel good that day at all. It was early in the morning. I got dressed. I went to work, but I was not feeling my 100%. And when I went to work, I felt like I don't want to be this happy, confident person all the time. And, people don't make it easy for you also. Oh, it's so easy for you, you'll do it, no problem. I want to tell them, like, shut up. Let me have a minute. It's okay. I'm human too. But I still went up on stage. I still did my thing. It was a big hit. But when I went back home, I didn't feel so good about myself at all. Not because I hadn't done a good job, but because I'd pushed myself more than I should have. Sometimes it's okay to take a break. And I think these are the things that you learn as you go along. But if I really think that motivation or discipline will trump motivation, I go ahead and give it a shot. But off late, I've realized that I say no to a lot of speaking assignments if I don't feel up for it. but don't do it. You're still in your initial phase of speaking. Please continue speaking. And it's okay. Channel that, and maybe you can speak about that. And it's good. Not everyone feels very confident all the time. If they are, then they're putting on a facade, which I did for years. Not worth it. It's not worth it. It's very comfortable and easy to be your authentic self. And people will respect you for it rather than you forever showing that you are strong and you are this. Yeah. Thank you, Shreya.
Thank you, Kavya.
I have one question. Can you hear me?
Who's speaking?
Can you hear me?
I can hear you, but I just don't know who's speaking.
Okay, this is Padmini.
Yes, Padmini.
Okay, so my question is that, as you mentioned, right, this maybe area director or division director, I mean, there are so many people in this meeting as well. It doesn't pay us, right? What is that one factor, that it still makes us feel so passionate about Toastmasters? And I see people, and I'm very new to this officer role and all, and I have seen attending so many meetings, people are so passionate about it. They spend day in and day out working for their club, working for their area. And I don't even know if their regular job, do they put in so much effort, but I see so many passionate people. But what is it that drives them? There could be one point of time, right? We could think of, like, it is not even paying me. Why should I do this? Yeah. I don't know what is that factor that is driving these people. I want to know that.
Thank you, Padmini. Maybe those people will be the right people to ask the question to. But I definitely think when I said, I'm sure they have their days where they question that to themselves, it's not paying me, is it really worth it? I'm pretty sure they have those days. If you ask any AD on the call today, they will tell you that they have those days where they don't want to come here. I mean, who wants to attend a club installation at 4 o'clock on a Friday, right, Ajay? But they do it. But I'll tell you why, at least why I did what I did is, when I mentioned deliberate intent, I really meant deliberate intent. And maybe they are not doing it with the same intentions that I did. But for me, I knew that I was 18 when I joined Toastmasters, and I became a leader very quickly in Toastmasters. And I assumed that the world outside will open up the same opportunities and the same possibilities. But I was in for a rude shock. Nobody really cares if you've been, the president at Toastmasters. When you walk into a room, you're still a 20-year-old girl. You're still the youngest in the room, the only female in the room. They don't care. You have to make them care. And where will I learn those skills to execute that to perfection outside? At Toastmasters. If I am an AD, if you are a club officer, as a club officer, you're dealing with your club problems, right? You're dealing with a particular set of people whom you're comfortable with. They're all friends. You know them. You just have to convince them to deliver speeches. You have to keep them motivated for 6 months, and then you're done. But when you're an AD, you're a full-term AD, 1 full year, and you have to motivate so many different people. You have to go out of your way to do that. Where would you get an opportunity like that? Where, in which other organization would you get an opportunity to learn and to develop your leadership skills to that extent and so beautifully? How else would you, where else would you have that platform to ensure there is no carrot and stick? Nobody's going to get scared of you if you tell them, I'm going to take away your DCP points. 1, you can't do that. 2, they don't care. But there is no carrot, there is no stick. It is your members that you're looking at, the members that you're working for. And it's a good place to learn all of those skills, to truly be a leader inside of Toastmasters. And it's very challenging. It's very challenging to do those big roles that they do. I have great respect for people who do their district officer roles really seriously and sincerely, because it's a different skill set altogether to do all of those things. To be present at team meetings, for ever being approachable, for being inspirational. People look up to you for different things. They are asking you for problem solving. You have targets that you have to meet, which not many of you know, but they have targets that they have to meet. They have meetings, they are answerable to people. It's all like a corporate setup without taking out the money element, but putting in the same result element into it. It's very challenging, and I think maybe that is why people stick on to it, because the adulation is a very small part of that compared to the amount of effort you put in, but it's worth it. Maybe that's why. Yeah, I hope I answered your question, Padmini. If not, you can ask the 4 ADs on the call today. Okay, Rahul, what is the result? We are on red. Okay, with that, thank you very much. for inviting me. It was an absolute pleasure to talk to people who are so young and so dedicated to Toastmasters. I hope to see you all and maybe listen to some of his speeches sometime. Yeah. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Kavya.
Thank you so much, Toastmaster, distinguished Toastmaster Kavya. Um, all I could think of is, I don't know, for some reason, I was imagining Mithila Palkar in straight hair because the name is also Kavya. If any one of you have seen Little Things, for some reason I was imagining Mithila Palkar with straight hair, and the name is also Kavya. Somewhere things are kind of coinciding anyway. And she also speaks a lot like this. So with that, all I can think of is DTM Kavya has told me, if you want to be a flat shoe or a sneaker in a room full of stilettos, just be. Thank you so much, DTM Kavya, for that engaging uh, speaking session. And now let's not waste more time because it's time to install the officers for this term. So in no time and with no further ado, let me welcome the area director, Toastmaster Ajay Pallegar, who finds a second home in Toastmasters. So country roads take us to places, but for him, the roads take him to Toastmasters. Please, ladies and gentlemen, put your hands together for the area director, Toastmaster Ajay.
Thank you. Thank you, Akshaya, for that introduction. Good afternoon, everyone. Before I start off with the installation and go ahead with the script that is prescribed to me by Toastmasters International, let me add my own touch and start with a quote from a leader that I really associate very well with, Martin Luther King. He once said, "If you can't fly, then run. If you can't run, then walk. If you can't walk, then crawl. But by all means, keep moving forward." And while we are wading through these tough waters, it is a delight to see the Orators in the Cloud Toastmasters Club having embraced and adopted the virtual platform. And it is great to see you all here today on this virtual platform. I would now request the club officers of the previous term to please turn on their video and raise their hands. Dear officers, you've had a successful term and you all should be extremely proud of serving magnificently in your respective offices. On behalf of Orators in the Cloud, District 92, and Toastmasters International, I'd like to say a big thank you for all your hard work and successful work this term. I hereby discharge you from all the further activities and responsibilities of your respective office. Please give the outgoing officers a big round of virtual applause for all the wonderful service they have rendered to this club. You may put your hands down. Thank you. Now, I request the elected officers to turn on their video. As I call your name, I would request the moderator to spotlight the video. I humbly request the audience to please withhold your applause till all the installation ceremony is concluded. The first officer is the Sergeant at Arms, Toastmaster Bhargav. Bhargav loves traveling and trekking. This pandemic cost him 2 Himalayan treks, which he had been planning for years, and a bunch of other small trips. He's currently pursuing his hobby of cooking, and he's trying to live this pandemic episode away with a traveler spirit. The treasurer is Toastmaster Arjun. Arjun is really happy today, not because he's taking up a new role, but because Real Madrid has just been crowned the champions of Spain. The secretary for this term is Toastmaster Sumedh. I think Sumedh is definitely an inspiration to people with bad haircuts all over the world. The SpongeBob of No One Square Pants, and the secretary of OITC to Toastmaster Sumedh. Next up is the Vice President of Public Relations, Toastmaster Shreya. Shreya believes she is generally a happy-go-lucky person, but she gives it 100% when she believes in something. She's always up for learning something new, and that is also the reason she's so excited about this role that she's taken up. VP membership is Toastmaster Abhijit. He is an explorer who loves to explore new things all around him. His most favorite areas are technology, sports, and spirituality. Vice President Education is Toastmaster Akshaya. 2 decades of struggle to reality from her own land of stories and stars, challenging the niceness of the world and the patience of the universe to make a stellar toe dance look like a sneaker show. Presenting the Vice President of Education, the unlimited talk time Toastmaster Akshaya. And the most important person in the house, the President, Toastmaster Hind. There are more things that he likes than those he doesn't. He has loved different things and acts over different times, but the constants have always remained science, space, and cinema. During these tough times, he loves playing board games. I will now not be reading out the roles and responsibility of all the role players, as the role players have already acknowledged on mail that they will be performing their duties to the best of their ability. I, Ajay Pallegar, I'm here to install the officers of orators in the Cloud Toastmasters Club and to prepare them for the challenges that lie ahead. Their collective challenge is to make this club strong and dedicated to helping people from all walks of life to speak in an effective manner, listen with sensitivity, and passionately lead to help many individuals. Dear members of OICT, please turn on your video and raise your hands. Your officer team have just pledged to serve the club to the best of their ability. Your club will need their active participation from each member. Do you, as members, pledge to work together with your officer team to make Orators in the Cloud Toastmasters Club the finest club that it can possibly be?
Yes, we can.
Thank you. You may now put your hands down.
I do.
By the authority vested in me as the Area Director of District 92, it is my sincere pleasure to declare these Toastmasters and officers installed in their respective club offices. Please join me in extending a warm welcome to the Orators and the Cloud Toastmasters executive team for the term July 2020 to December 2020. With that, I conclude my installation, and it's now back to the Toastmaster of the day.
Thank you, Toastmaster Ajay. So let's not delay more. Sumedh, I'm sorry, I forgot your introduction. So I'm going to skip it. So it's time to welcome the table topic master of the day, Toastmaster Sumedh, because I can take this liberty only with Sumedh and he won't mind. So let's welcome the table topic master of the day, table topic master Sumedh.
Thank you, PMOD Akshaya, President Hind, ex-presidents, area directors, and all the other members of the Toastmasters Politburo. My name is Sumedh, and that is a complex statement in itself. It is both a dependent as well as an independent clause if you think about it. So just before we get started on this, I want to get a confirmation from Hind and the timer whether we can actually go ahead with this table topic session or not, because we are way ahead of ourselves in time, right? So just a confirmation from you guys. Sorry, I missed that signal.
I'll leave the decision to
Hind?
Let's have 2 table topic speeches, not many this time.
All right. So we can quickly have 2 or 1 table topics session. That's fine. So I was told that the table topics master gets to name the title of the table topic session. That got my creative juices flowing. So the title for today's session is "Please engage in small talk with me. I am a lone bystander." Right. So before we get started, the question here to the house is, how many of us have engaged in small talk at any point of time in their lives? Okay, so almost all of us, right? Cool. So here's what I've planned. I will allocate a topic with which we can small talk about. The speaker holds the floor and he speaks about it. He or she speaks about it. After the speaker is done, I will open it up to the room and people can air their statements, which would be something that they would have said had they gotten the opportunity. Okay, clear enough, right? All right. So who will be the first volunteer today? Padmini, Toastmaster Padmini, fine. Please unmute yourself. Please choose a number from 1 to 4.
4.
Just, huh?
4.
4, okay. Well, I actually have some numbers here just to make this process stochastic, but it does not matter at the end of the day. Okay, so you and the bystander beside you, both of you like the same movie star, Amir Khan here, okay? So you have to engage in small talk with a guy or a gal about Amir Khan. So take your time. You have about 2 minutes to go for it.
Hey, bystander. I see that you're also looking at the poster of Amir Khan. And at the same time, I am thinking about Amir Khan. Did you watch the movie 3 Idiot yesterday that was airing on Star Plus? Yes. Oh, I expected. When we watch that movie, absolutely, like we will think about Amir Khan, at least for the next 1 week, about all the roles he has taken up, right, in the different movies and the way he inspired us in different shows as well. And what do you think? What do you think is that Amir Khan has as an actor, and what others could learn from him that could inspire others? Oh, yeah, I know. That's the empathy. That's the empathy that he has towards the people and towards his nation as well. And how he touches on several sensitive aspects of life. And that makes people take inspiration from him and implement it in our own life. And I'm sure you're waiting for his next movie release. And so am I. I wish this pandemic ends soon and we all go to the theater and enjoy the movie as much as we used to do earlier. Oh,
Thank you, Toastmaster Padmini. So now I will open it up to the room. If anyone wants to add on to what Toastmaster Padmini mentioned, if you were given an opportunity, what would you have said differently? Right.
Ayla, tu bhi.
Sure. What else? Anyone has anything different from what Toastmaster Padmini mentioned?
If I would want a favor from that bystander, I would say, I saw you looking at Amir Khan's poster, and I somehow feel that even you look like Amir Khan. And, you're short and you're.
Sure, that you did not just come up with that on top of your head, right? That was personal experience, I guess. Anyway, so we will now move on to the next volunteer. Who is willing to take up the next? Actually, I find that Toastmaster Srinidhi is here. Toastmaster Srinidhi, can you take this up? Hey, Srinidhi.
Yeah, hi Sumedh. Yeah, I can take it up.
Yeah, yeah. This is ragging, right? she was
Yeah.
my junior. So all right. So the topic. Okay, choose number between 1 and 3.
There is nothing in between except 2.
All right. Okay. you have to, okay, you and the bystander beside you both are cricket fans, and you have to talk about cricket. You have to engage in small talk about cricket or any cricketer. You choose whatever you want to discuss.
So, if I have to engage in small talk about cricket, I would just say that a few years ago, I was living in a village near Kochi. That was a time when I was just walking around near the backwaters of the place where I found the cricketer Sachin Tendulkar, and I just asked him about how is it that he is here. I had always thought he lived in Mumbai, and that's when he said that he owns a house near my house, and we did not know it until then. Back then, I didn't even know that he was such a big shot. So I just brushed it off and said that, okay, a cricketer lives by my house. I did go back to my friends and do some sort of big talk there. I did brag about him living near my house. But now that I think of it, I think the news somehow reached him and he moved away. And I don't see him anywhere near that house. That's it from me. Over to the TTM.
Thank you, Srinidhi. Now I'll open it up to the house. People who are cricket aficionados, take your shot. Time it perfectly though, otherwise the timer will catch you.
Hey, what's the score, man?
All right. So, Hind, you usually come up with one-liners as an engagement in small
That's
talk.
the beginning of the small talk, right? That's how it begins.
All right. Any other statements that you would want to make to start off small talk or engage in small talk with respect to cricket? Yeah, go ahead.
Don't you think our boys messed it up yesterday?
Yeah.
Inshallah, boys played well.
Yeah. Well, anyone else has anything to add on here? This will be the last statement. So the parting shot here.
What's your thought about the new BCCI president?
All right. Too political for my liking, but sure. Thank you, Toastmaster Padmini. Toastmaster Rahul, I think we'll just finish with this. Or do we have time for one more? No? All right. So we'll just end it here. Thank you to all the Toastmasters who volunteered. The only thing which the presiding officer and the vice president of education told me before this was that get everyone engaged. And I think I tried doing it. I'm sure that you people were engaged within the two topics that we spoke about. So thanks a lot. Back to the TMOD for the day, Toastmaster Akshaya.
Do we have time to run through the timer report and AhCounter report and Grammarian report?
Since we had the rules, let's run through them.
Hello. Yeah, okay. So now, with no more ado, let me welcome the timer of today, Toastmaster Rahul, to give its timer report.
Thank you, Toastmaster Shreya. The first half of the meeting, I mean, everyone were within the stipulated time. There was no extra time taken by anyone. Only the Q&A section went for like more than 10 minutes. That's where we are delayed. Apart from that, everything else we are on time. But the only thing is we started again 5 minutes late. That's pretty much it from my side. Over to you.
Thank you, Toastmaster Rahul. And now it's time to call upon Toastmaster Supriya. Toastmaster Supriya with her AhCounter report. Please, ladies and gentlemen, put your hands together for Toastmaster.
Thank you, Akshaya. As an AhCounter of the day, for the day, I would like to introduce the catchword of the day. It is like all of us, you have used as the catchword, and that's the only thing that we have used. So maybe next time when we talk, take it as a challenge and try not to use whenever you don't know what to talk. Um, and among the today altogether, we have used like close to 100 CRPS. Uh, and I would like to call out few things, few of the observations that I've made during the speech. The first one is when Toastmaster Kavya was talking, she has actually used lot of hours, 10 plus hours, and has been her filler word, which she has used 10 plus and repetitions are something that she has used when she was answering the questions, when she was giving answers to the questions. But one thing that I noticed in her speech is the variation. Like she knows where to go high and where to go low, and she knows when to slow down and when to fasten a speech. And there were few things which I noticed in her speech. Those were like the repetitions. She knows when to repeat the words. Like one thing that I noted down was when she told, "Where would you get an opportunity like that? Where?" So these kind of repetitions made her speech more effective. So maybe repetitions are not always bad. We might have to use repetitions sometimes. That's what I noticed in her speech. Apart from that, Toastmaster Akshaya, we know that you are the superstar of our club. I would like to tell that so your usage of so is something that you might have to keep a control on. Maybe next time whenever you're using, because I've noticed that you have used so like five times. Maybe next time when you talk, just make sure that you try to reduce the number of so's in your speech. Rahul, Toastmaster Rahul as timer, you have used 10 plus CRPF, and again, has been your crutch word. Apart from that, again, Toastmaster Sumedh, so is your filler word. I think try to reduce the number of so's that you use in your speech next time you talk. That's all I have to tell. Thank you.
Thank you, Toastmaster Supriya, for that detailed report. And now it's time to call upon the English teacher. So let's welcome Toastmaster Shreya. Thank you so much. So let's welcome Toastmaster Shreya. Thank you, Akshaya. Thank you for telling me that I need to speed up with my evaluation today. Firstly, the word of the day, sanguine, has been used 4 times, all 4 times by just one person. You can guess who. It was I wish Kavya was here because it was a pleasure being a grammarian for her today. I mean, I mostly evaluated just her. There was nobody else. I know she's not here, but I thought maybe some of the words she used, you guys can use it too. Precocious kid, beautiful amalgamation, break down every ounce of arrogance, audacious goals, deliberate intent, which she used a lot of times. And these 2 alliterations, temper, tantrum, and arousing applause. I thought they were quite nice. Apart from that, I thought let's not, since we are short of time, let's not have per person kind of an evaluation. You guys can come back to me later, but 2-3 things, important things that I want to point out. Anyways is not a word. It's anyway. You never say any house. You say anyhow, right? You don't go to someone and say, hey, any house, what do you want to do? That exactly, anyways is not a word. It's only anyway. There is no S there. Secondly, everybody, anybody, everyone, these are all singular terms. It's was, not were. When you say everyone was, you don't say everyone were. And the same applies for any word that ends with anybody or one. You're choosing one out of a lot, so it is a singular term. The next thing is when you're saying in third person that, okay, you're saying something in the form of I asked him or I told him. When you say I asked him, you don't repeat it with the question afterwards. You don't say I asked him, how does he come here? You say I asked him how he comes here. The second half of that statement is an actual statement because the first half implies that you are asking him that. I just hope whoever does make this mistake, you guys do keep this in mind. I think that's all I wanted to focus on today.
Yeah, that's all I have. Thank you, guys.
Thank you, Toastmaster Shreya. So I think I was thinking we will not have voting today, but looks like we have. So please take some time and vote for the best speaker and the best evaluator and the best table topic speaker. So today's table topic is like gulab jamun ka race. कितने लोग थे? दो. कौन सा prize मिला? Second prize. So it's like that. So please do vote for the best table topic speaker and the best speaker and the best evaluator. Let's just take 30 seconds for that.
Quick correction, Bhargav, I think the name of table topic master is mine, but it's Sumedh actually. So can you please correct that? Or people who are voting for TTM Hind, it's okay. It's the vote is going for TTM Sumedh.
Sorry, I'm fixing that. Sorry.
Yeah, you people can call me a vote grabber now.
I think it should be fine. What Hind said makes more sense. I think half of us already voted, so whatever goes for TTM, Hind can be taken for Sumedh.
Is the 1 minute silence for coronavirus victims done?
No.
All right.
Borderline rude.
Yes. That's so much punching down.
I thought that this would be the only room that joke would kind of work, and it only kind of did. So yeah, bear with me.
All right, I think we're done with the timings. Bhargav or Akshaya, if you would like to announce the winners. Or it's okay, everybody is a winner in the game of life. We can just call it that.
Best speaker is Kavya. Best evaluator is Shreya. Best TTM is Best TTM is Padmini. Congratulations, sir.
Thank you, Toastmaster Bhargav, and it's time to call it a day. Thank you so much for being extremely patient and for bearing me throughout. So let me pass the derby to Toastmaster Hind to close the meeting. So thank you, everybody.
Thank you, Toastmaster Akshaya. That was a very well organized meeting. Although we could not have anticipated the Q&A section taking much more than 10 minutes, it did, and that kind of shrunk the table topic session. Things happen, we have to improvise. That's how it works. One question, Toastmaster Akshaya. You keep on saying, I'll hand on the derby to somebody. What's the spelling of that word? I have tried searching for that word on Google. I cannot find it.
Find it.
I think it's Derby, DERBY.
All right, that's learning for me. Before we close off the meeting, my sincere thanks to all the guests, most of whom are not here now. They had to preemptively leave. That's fine. Sincere thanks to Toastmaster Ajay for heading the installation ceremony. Ajay, do you have any feedback for us? I think I lost everybody.
Definitely.
And Mazahir, thank you as always for being there. We hope that you keep coming back because it's like home for us. So I hope you keep coming back here.
It's definitely home for us. It also has to be home for him.
I was just pointing out saying Hind is back. So Hind, back to you.
Hi. Thank you. So yeah, I was just asking Ajay, is Ajay here or did he leave? Yes, Ajay, if you have any feedback for us. And thank you very much for heading the installation ceremony.
You're most welcome. No feedback. You guys are doing really good. And of course, it was just that the Q&A short over time, but then I think that was quite expected because we had such an engaging audience and that was perfectly fine.
We'll blame it on Kavya because she had such an engaging speech that everybody could relate to and everybody had questions afterwards. So we'll blame it on Kavya.
And more
I'll
importantly,
pass that message on to her.
Yeah. Sorry, Sumedh, you were saying something.
Yeah, and more importantly, she's not here. So
Yes, that works the best. Srinidhi, thanks for hanging around till the end. I think it was because of Sumedh and Akshaya that you hung around, that you were scared of your two seniors.
Yeah, you could say that. But it was a pleasure definitely being here. I loved the keynote. I loved how Ajay did the installation in a very short and crisp yet very sweet way. This is my first time in OIC and I enjoyed myself. Thank you, and I will look forward to more sessions.
Feel free to drop by anytime, even when we don't have a meeting. You can just ping us on our WhatsApp group. We will invite you if you feel like joining. Feel free. We are Velas.
Sure. Thank you so much.
And
her seniors won't lose an opportunity to rag her. Huh?
Sorry?
Her seniors wait for an opportunity to rag her.
Yes. And then she'll have to join. No other choice left.
I don't think they would do that. They were pretty sweet to me in college, so I guess the streak would continue.
Well, that is very disappointing to hear from Toastmaster Sumedh, and that is very disappointing news from Toastmaster Sumedh and Toastmaster Akshaya. You should have been evil.
Oh God.
People's might turn now.
Oh, they will.
And finally, the final vote of thanks to the man who never lets us down, who's always there for support, and who, in the interest of every role, will fill it in. Even when I had failed to introduce everybody with their title, he made sure to do it. Thank you very much, Mazahir. Before you say anything, one quick question: the background, is that your opulent house, or did you just put in a wallpaper?
It's exactly what I wanted to ask also.
It's a wallpaper, but because of the light, it just looks like that it's really real. I'm gonna move the plant as well, so it looks more. So you guys can see it, right? Meanwhile, Supriya, there's something special for you. You can ask Hind. I pinged him already. The most improved role player is what I mentioned today. He did a fabulous job. Again, try to not use the short phrase of a CRPF as CRPF. Say who used what. So avoid using it. As an introduction, is superb. Shreya is an all-time grammarian. Ajay will probably get to know. And everybody is really energetic. This club is really special to me. So I'm no longer an area director, and we have to respect two of the area directors, especially the one who's our club area director, Ajay, with us. However, I'll keep, along with Soumya and Kartika and other people, including Ashwin and Priya, will all try to join your meetings. You guys doing a fantastic job. All the very best to the new president, Hind, VP Education, Akshaya. You're going to be the backbone of the club, membership, and all the other role players, right? You guys are going to be doing a superb job. I know it's a reminder that Ajay will do it for you, and I'll probably leave it to him for the TLI. However, it is definitely always a pleasure to be part of this meeting. And thank you so much for such amazing table topics. Thank you.
Thank you, Mazahir, for the inspiring words. As always, you astound us with the constant interest and enthusiasm, and we hope it continues. With that, if anybody has any words to final words of the meeting, not of your life, to say, feel free. So we are going offline in 5, 4, 3,
Almost
See you.
thought I lost you, but you came back. Thank you.
Ajay has something to say. Hang on. Ajay has something
Yeah.
to say.
Well, Mazar has already mentioned it, so I do hope to see you all at TLI. And TLI is not just only for the current club officers, but most welcome to the other club members as well. So I do hope all of them have registered. If not, Hind, I will be pinging you later.
Sure, certainly. We'll pester everybody to register. No issues with that.
Thank you.
Anyways, I'm not going to do the countdown again. Thank you, everybody, for joining. People who joined and left, thank them. And see you next week. Bye-bye.
Thanks, guys. See ya. Bye.